In Section 1, we outlined the first phase of God's plan to rescue his creations using Tesla's technology.
Here in Section 2, we'll be providing the main points around Phase 2 of the plan, which is humanity's exodus from a captured and corrupted world destined for destruction.
To recap, Tesla's technology will sound the last trump and cause billions of human avatars to disappear and become superconductive. Those leaving will be loaded by the hand of God in the twinkling of an eye into hundreds of thousands of fleets docked inside an angelic stargate. But what proof do we have of these hundreds of thousands of fleets?
There are three things that must be understood before going further with this topic. First, Earth was created by God as a domed environment. Second, there is only one way in or out of this system, and that is through the sun gate. Unless the sun gate is guarded from the outside, any race that has the technology to travel here can get in. However, in the process of entering, their spacecraft will be disabled by the sun gate. Third, real space with real celestial objects does exist, but only outside the dome. Here inside, we're looking at a magnificent mechanical orrery.
With this background in place, let's move forward. On the topic of the existence of UFOs in general, here's the 17 team's take.
Personally, I've seen at least 10 UFOs with my own two eyes.
Now that's an interesting thing. That is definitely a craft. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. Good morning, Second Lieutenant Jetson, reporting for duty. Sir. Oh, ma'am. Permission to come aboard.
My first and only trip to DC was on September 24th, 2022. That night, while standing in Lafayette Square, I filmed a UFO as it flew right over the White House.
Are you there?
Yeah, did you see it?
I'm still seeing it. I'm filming it. What is it?
Oh, it looks like a comet or something. It's moved off of the screen for me. It's been moving up above away from the Stargate.
For me, it's going right over the tip of Wamo right now.
That sounds about right, where it would be, yeah. Now, see, my screen isn't high enough to get to that. But
okay.
I saw it as the angle that it went up, it would be, yeah, about over Wamo.
What in the world? What in the world is this?
Judson, it's like every night we look at this, there's something different.
Oh my God.
I just don't know.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
We've now seen the 17 teams' admission of UFOs and my own personal proof. So let's move on to proof of the fleets that are here to assist with the rescue of billions.
If you visit a planetarium, it's showing you a replica of the sky outside the planetarium's dome. And it's the same when we look up into a night sky. We're seeing a magnificent replica of what lies outside of Earth's dome. Once again, we've come to a point where more must be learned before moving forward. Here's an excerpt from a video in our Truth About the Sun and Moon playlist. The UFOs that are overloading our skies are the fleets in the title of this report.
Now, attached to this telescope is an infrared camera named Lucifer. Now, what this instrument's used for is astrobiology, for looking for exoplanets, looking for other worlds. And the infrared spectrum is also very useful for seeing things that can't be seen with the naked eye. And many UFO researchers have noted that you can see a lot of ships and entities that you normally can't see.
Tell me about what the Vatican astronomers are telling you, or what others, experts, I mean, you had a research team.
Right.
Tell me a few of the things they're telling
Well,
you.
first of all, the day that we spent on Mount Graham, the entire day there, we had the Jesuits speaking to us face to face. And one of the things we found amazing in the use of the Lucifer device and even the other telescopes is how commonly the astronomers spoke of UFOs. We were just taken back by the fact that it was almost a nuisance to them that there are so many.
The images we're reporting on are filmed by order of the Holy See by Vatican astronomers in their own private observatory, operating the most advanced telescopic and photometric technology available in the world, which is the LBT, or Large Binocular Telescope. The Large Binocular Telescope, LBT, is the only sun telescope being used to film the sun gate. Its two infrared Lucifer cams give it the ability to capture what no other, including the Hubble, can. The LBT feeds images of what's taking place around Earth's sun gate to its 27.5-foot mirrors. So it's the reflections from the mirrors that are then filmed to produce these images we call LBT images.
So the Vatican's Large Binocular Telescope is snapping images of God's orrery, in particular the area around the sun gate 24/7. And a tiny portion of those images is made available to the public daily.
Fleets entering the orrery cause a tremendous flash that can be seen on the LBT images that are released daily. It's too much to explain fully here, but just know that every instance of fleets entering the orrery, flying in formation, was preceded by a flash so large and bright, it's impossible to imagine.
We've compiled a clip of intergalactic fleets flying in formation that have been entering this system for at least the past 17 years.
For this clip, we chose one frame from each year, starting from when the images became available in 2007 and up until April 2024. Each image you're about to see is only one frame from one day in each year since 2007. It was chosen because it's revealing fleets flying in formation as they enter the orrery.
Also of note is that each tiny shape in each image is actually an enormous craft large enough to carry thousands of passengers.
So, if the Sun Gate is protecting this realm by disabling spacecrafts that enter, why aren't these fleets being disabled? Long ago, a call for assistance from King Yeshua was sent out into real space to all benevolent beings in all galaxies of the universe. The beings who heeded the call became part of an alliance called the Intergalactic Federation of Light. And so these intergalactic fleets are here by royal invitation from King Yeshua, and thus are being allowed to enter undamaged.
Angelic stargates are heavenly technology.
In late 2015, a move to Hawaii sparked a series of cosmic adventures in my life that included a large and varied sampling of UFO sightings. By mid-2018, I'd watched over 100 hours of coded scenes inserted into International Space Station live streams and been able to figure out on my own that Earth is not a globe.
You've got pink, blue, light blue, aquamarine, green. Now it's changing again. Oh my gosh, this is so incredible.
By mid-2019, after studying large binocular telescope images for an equal amount of time, I had determined conclusively that Earth's skies are run by technology. During this period of LBT image research, I came upon an object so unbelievably mysterious and extraordinary, it absolutely stymied me. Its size alone was staggering. What in the world could it be?
On February 7th, 2019, I saw the object in the LBT archives. While driving the next morning, I was pondering what I'd seen, and that's when I requested to be shown what it was. Then, on the evening of February 9th, 2019, this SB2 video came up in my YouTube feed and I watched it. So I saw the object on the 7th, asked to be shown what it was on the 8th, and by the 9th, the answer had appeared in this video.
Only after he shakes hands with Representative Billy Long that it's naturally displaced. There was therefore no rationally intended message with the tie. However, for those who know how the spirit operates in the material realm, Blue Kachina is the door.
In case you didn't notice, SB2 did not provide a logical segue either before or after jumping into this topic of the Blue Kachina. When I researched Blue Kachina, I learned it's from an ancient Hopi prophecy about the end times.
Hollywood has done an excellent job of defining what a stargate does, but a very poor job of explaining how it works. Lucky for us, Jetson has been able to fill in the gaps. By focusing only on what was of interest to him, Jetson learned what was needed on a large number of seemingly unrelated topics, not knowing where his studies were leading. It started with this image of Sirius. Sirius is easy to find in a night sky because Orion's belt points the way. On this particular February night in 2019, this object was working overtime to twinkle its way into Jetson's heart. And so he grabbed this image. He was aware that Sirius is a twin star, but he'd never seen an image like this that showed both stars so distinctly, especially knowing it was taken with his cheap low-res phone cam. Over the next few years, Judson went on to snap other similar pics of twin stars, both in the daylight and at night. But his next major encounter with a twin star was while using the Stellarium app on his PC. He decided to see how far the Stellarium app would allow him to zoom in on the sun. And when he did, he was astonished to discover this. There is a twin star branded on the surface of the sun.
Again, you cannot make this stuff up. I'd been studying the concepts put forth in Tesla's famous 369 equation, and when I saw the crystalline structure of these two stars and the obvious X connecting them together, I instinctively knew I was looking at a 369 relationship. There's so much to tell about the concepts learned from my research into the magnificence of the 369. But the final dots were yet to be connected, because during that same time period, I was told that real twin stars from outside the dome had been invited in by King Yeshua to assist with the Rapture event. And that twin stars are actually a very specific type of angels. That's when the 369 work I'd done helped me see that these angels can zero out their individual charges and come together to form an angelic stargate. But it wasn't until I was shown the mysterious object in the LBT images, and then Serial Brain 2's miraculous declaration of assurance that it was the door, that I was able to see that the object filmed near the sun gate by the large binocular telescope must be a stargate.
This stargate was mentioned in part 1 in this section because the intergalactic fleets will be docked inside of it. And those fleets are serving as compartments that will be loaded by the very hand of God at the moment of the rapture event. Of course, the next questions are, who is being loaded? Where are they going? When are they leaving, and why?
Let's start with the why.
To answer who is being loaded, it's all those who were changed during the last trump. And this is all humans and pets, dead and alive, who are vibrating in the mid-frequency range.
The frequency of the last trump is tuned so that it only affects those in the mid-range group.
And to answer where they'll be going back to the future. To be clear, they're going back to a new beginning timeline to claim the future that was stolen from the human race.
And finally, to answer when they'll be leaving, we can only say that the date and time of the Rapture event is a known data point for those at the top on both sides in the war between good and evil.
Now, since the November 2024 election, there's a lot of talk going around on social media that America is headed for its first golden age. And this is true. They are headed for a golden age. But it won't be just Americans, and it will not be here on Earth.
The world's first golden age will take place in the New West, in humanity's new beginning timeline. And that's what will be covered in part 3 of section 2.
Script, please.
You want the script? What's the matter?
I'm tired.
You're supposed to have your lines memorized. What's the matter with you? The final phase of the plan to save the world will be to rescue all humans who have been unknowingly choosing evil over good. Remember, the Q plan to save the world is God's plan to save the world.
Now, Nancy and I do understand that the idea of non-believers being raptured and rescued is considered to be entirely unscriptural. This topic is addressed in many of our videos, and we hope we've made our belief clear that those not made righteous by the blood of Christ cannot enter into heaven.
But those leaving are not going to heaven. And so our rapture story is not a case of giving sinners a second chance.
Why? Because the human race never had a first chance.
There's a mystery man with information to free us from this captured up.
What if an alien race was to come to Earth, maybe just a handful of players, similar to what happened in the ancient times with the 200 that landed at Mount Hermon? Now, using that model and gaming it out, if you're going to take over the planet, how do you do it? How do you manage the technology? How do you focus the endeavors and the labors to do your bidding? You have a cult that wants to take over planet Earth. And that's who we're actually fighting here on the planet. And they've gotten their players that'll do their bidding into high positions, high office, with the goal being to leave the planet. And now the game is about to restart. Once again, this ideal America that has always been the dream and is still the dream and is our goal, that city on the hill that Reagan spoke about, we seek to bring that to pass. And fight's on. Enjoy the show.
These hostile invaders, being described by 107, had the advantage of being 1,000 years ahead of humans in technology. And when Lucifer fell to Mount Hermon, the two groups joined forces against humanity.
The invader group immediately began a hybridization program, which is behind the existence and rise of the 13 bloodline families. The hybrids were taught that their DNA is superior to human DNA, giving them the right to rule. For more on the invasion story, watch this video.
Now, think about what the Pilgrims did when they sailed to America. Did they ever have a fair chance to thrive under the immoral and evil tyranny imposed on them by the corrupt bloodline royalty? Of course, the 17 team has done a miraculous job of getting truth out to the masses. But when you consider that what's being uncovered is merely the tip of the iceberg,
and that even if President Trump delivers on every promise, there are still many minds and hearts that are so deeply programmed they've lost the ability to think critically and discern good from evil.
And so the need for a fresh start becomes clear. A new beginning, free from enemy interference. and fiercely safeguarded by an entire population of fully informed, highly trained citizens.
Could it be that the new West is what President Trump is referring to when he says we're headed into a golden age?
The world is learning the truth about its manipulators, sparking a dark to light evolution within the human race. And now, every lie uncovered and every challenge overcome is being embedded into the DNA of the human collective. This is the natural ascension process that will carry over into and expedite the build out of their new beginning timeline.
This recent speech by President Trump exemplifies how the power of truth emboldens the heart and sharpens the mind.
Within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis- or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are.
This completes the 2024 Trump Time Travel Series update.
God bless!